boys and girls. This is Mrs. Chadwick, and I'm here to read you a fun October story. My story is called Too Many Pumpkins. Boys and girls, that's the title of the book. It's written by Linda White. She's the author, and it's illustrated by Megan Lloyd. She's the illustrator. She did the beautiful pictures. Do you see the picture on the cover of the book? Are you ready? Get yourself comfortable. This is a classic. Every year at springtime, Rebecca Estelle planted just enough seeds in her garden to grow vegetables for the long winter. She planted carrots and beans, tomatoes and peas, corn and rutabagas. She grew a little bit of everything except for pumpkins. Rebecca Estelle hated pumpkins. When she was a little girl, money had been scarce, which means there wasn't enough of it. For an entire month, all there had been to eat were pumpkins. Baked pumpkins, steamed pumpkins, boiled pumpkins, stewed pumpkins, mashed pumpkins, rotten pumpkins, breakfast pumpkins, lunch pumpkins, dinner pumpkins. Boys and girls, too many pumpkins. When things finally improved and there was a little more money to buy food, Rebecca Estelle decided she would never eat pumpkins again or even look at one, not ever. And she didn't until, I know the print in this book is very small, but if you ever see 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dots, dot, 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 that means that something important is going to happen on the next page. Let's find out. One autumn day, long after Rebecca Estelle's hair had turned snowy white, she was raking the leaves that fell each fall from her black walnut tree, and her cat Esmeralda was scattering them just as quickly. All of a sudden, the pumpkin truck passed by. So I want you to look at this picture. There's a truck there. It's coming down the road, a pumpkin truck. It's very loud. Oh, she heard it coming, bumpity bump, bump, bump. And she knew what it was. It rumbled by at harvest time every year. She turned her back and concentrated on picking up the very last fallen leaf. She managed to ignore the truck until, and there's those dots, dot, dot, dot. Something important's about to happen. Let's find out. Oh my goodness, boys and girls. Splat! Check this picture out. What a mess. Oh my goodness. An enormous pumpkin tumbled off the truck and smashed into slimy orange smithereens all over the edge of the yard. Come back here and get this pumpkin, she yelled, but the driver sped away. I love this picture where she's right up here and she's holding her fist in the air, both of her fists. Can you do that? Come back here and get that pumpkin. She's hopping mad, right? Because we know Rebecca Estelle does not like pumpkins. Well, I won't touch it, Rebecca Estelle insisted, getting her shovel from the barn. And I won't look at it either, she added as she shoveled dirt on top of the pumpkin pieces. I won't even think about the pumpkin ever again, she declared. And she didn't until something's about to happen. So boys and girls, she thinks that she covers it up with dirt. Nothing's going to come of it. Out of sight, out of mind. Spring came. When Rebecca Estelle was admiring the new sprouts in her garden, she noticed Esmeralda playing in some big green leaves growing at the edge of her yard. How curious, she said, going over to inspect them, which means she took a closer look. I didn't plant anything there. Then Rebecca Estelle remembered, oh yes, the pumpkin truck and the slimy pumpkin smithereens. Pumpkins, she cried in disgust. Come out of there, Esmeralda. I will not water those plants. I will not tend to them. I will ignore them, and they will die. She picked up Esmeralda and stomped inside. But a week later, when Rebecca Estelle peered out her window again, she saw that the vines had grown. So here's Rebecca Estelle, and she's looking at the vines. The pumpkin vines are growing and growing. She tramped to the barn, got her garden tools, and went to work on the pumpkin vines. She cut and dug, one after the other, till none of them were growing anymore. Now, there were no pumpkins left. She smiled and went back inside. But the next week, when she was weeding the garden, she noticed that the pumpkin vines had grown back, Rebecca Estelle marched inside and snapped the curtain shut. Can you march? She's just mad and she's closing the curtain windows. The only thing to do is to ignore them. They won't grow if I don't take care of them, she muttered. So rain or shine, all spring and summer, she never looked out the front window again. She only used the back door and never even glanced toward the vines. Neither did their cat, Esmeralda. Isn't that funny, boys and girls? So the kitchen is in the back of the house, and she's just going in and out of the house, out of the back door and into the back door, because she doesn't want to go to the front door because that's where the pumpkins were, right? She's going to avoid them. She's ignoring them. I love this picture because it kind of shows a map of it. Here's her house. This is the front yard where that black walnut tree is, and this is her back door here. Rebecca Estelle ignored the vines so well that in time she forgot why she wasn't using the front door anymore until one autumn day when she and Esmeralda went to rake the leaves that fell each year from the black walnut tree in the front of the house. So here she is. She's going to walk all the way around to the front of the house. Boys and girls, can you make a prediction? What do you think she's going to see in the front of the house? She had put dirt over all of those seeds. She was going to ignore them because she doesn't like pumpkins, right? Oh my goodness, boys and girls, look, pumpkins. Look at this beautiful picture. I bet you can read what she saw, right? Oh my goodness. Pumpkins, Rebecca Estelle shrieked, which means to scream. Pumpkin vines had twined under the bushes, over the bird bath, through the porch rails, and onto the rocking chair. The entire yard, in fact, was a sea of plump, round pumpkins. Rebecca Estelle could no longer ignore them. She plopped down on the pumpkin nearest her, putting her hands to her face. She kind of sad and frustrated. My goodness, what will I ever do, Esmeralda, she cried. How will I get rid of all these many pumpkins? She thought and she thought. Using her brain, her mind went back to all the pumpkins she had eaten as a young girl when pumpkins were the only food that her family had. So there she is. She's got her hands in the air and she's going, oh my goodness, too many pumpkins. Well, we can't let them stay here, she told Esmeralda. Some people might need these pumpkins, and I suppose there are folks crazy enough to like them. Well, give them away. She marched off to get her wheelbarrow. Rebecca Estelle struggled to lift the first pumpkin. Oh, it's heavy. And then the second, and then the third. She huffed and she puffed as she wheeled the loaded wheelbarrow into the lane. I'm too tired to deliver these heavy pumpkins now, Rebecca Estelle grumbled. She mopped her brow with her apron and wondered what to do next. Perhaps if I make them into pies, they will be easier to deliver. They are such a nuisance. Boys and girls, a nuisance means that they're a big problem. They're trouble. Look at her. She's so hot. She worked so hard getting them into the wheelbarrow, but she still has to get rid of them. Maybe making them into pies will be an easier way to get rid of them. I love this picture because it makes me think of cooking. Doesn't it make you think of the kitchen? So she went to work. She scooped the slimy seeds out of the pumpkins and cut away the shells. After she boiled the pumpkin meat, she mixed it with eggs, milk, sugar, flour, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves to make rich pies. Then Rebecca Estelle made pumpkin tarts, pumpkin muffins, pumpkin cakes, pumpkin bread, pumpkin pudding, pumpkin cookies, until, oh my goodness, look at all that hard work going on in the kitchen. And remember that ... means something's about to happen. Oh my goodness, check this picture out of her kitchen. Boy, she's very industrious, meaning that she's very hard at work. Pumpkin dishes spilled out over every cupboard, drawer, and cubbyhole, and the seeds were a mountain in the corner. Well, that's the first batch, Rebecca Estelle said, dusting her floury hands. Now to deliver them. She put the wheelbarrow outside the kitchen door, loaded it up with pumpkin treats. When it was full, just the thought of delivering all those pumpkins, those pumpkin dishes, made Rebecca Estelle tired. If only people would come and get them instead, she thought. Then she had an idea. She used her brain, boys and girls. She had a great idea. Rebecca Estelle whirled around and hurried back into the house for a kitchen knife. This should get people to come, Rebecca Estelle cried. Boys and girls, let's put our hand on our head and let's think. What could we do with a kitchen knife and a pumpkin to get people to come to our house? Think, think, think. I wonder what she's going to do. She took the kitchen knife and sat in the middle of the pumpkin patch. She carved a smiley face in a nice round pumpkin, a scary snaggletooth face in a tall thin pumpkin, and the word boo, B-O-O, boo, on a short squat pumpkin. She was so busy carving pumpkins, she hardly noticed how dark it was getting outside. When she could no longer see, she went to the shelf on the back porch and got the sack of candles she kept for emergencies. If this doesn't get people to come here, well, we'll have to deliver all of these pumpkins ourselves, she muttered to Esmeralda. So there she is on the back porch, and she's getting candles and a match, and she's got these pumpkins that are carved. Can you make a prediction what she's going to do with those candles that are lit? You probably guessed, right? Look at that beautiful picture of jack-o'-lanterns. Yep, she sure did. She put the candles all lit inside of the pumpkins. Look, here's the one that says, boo. That's pretty creative, don't you think? Oh my goodness, Rebecca Estelle peered out into the darkness for a long time. She didn't see anything. Still, she watched until, ... something's about to happen. Finally, she saw a light, faint at first, and then brighter, and then more lights bobbing through the night. Here they come, she shouted. Esmeralda, let's heat up some hot apple cider. So I know it's a dark picture, but here's Esmeralda, and she's looking out way over in the distance. Do you see some lights up here? Maybe some people coming with flashlights or lanterns because they see all the wonderful jack-o'-lanterns welcoming people to her home. Young and old, everyone in town came. Rebecca Estelle, we thought you hated pumpkins, they said. We saw your jack-o'-lanterns from the end of the road and came for a closer look. I was hoping you would, said Rebecca Estelle. Where did you ever find all these pumpkins? People asked her. My goodness. I came by them quite by accident, Rebecca Estelle said, smiling. Would you like some pumpkin pie? There's plenty. She winked at Esmeralda. Everyone enjoyed pumpkin pie and cider and had a good time. So did Rebecca Estelle. And when they were ready to go home, she made sure that each carried a jack-o'-lantern, a bag of seeds for roasting, and a pumpkin treat. Rebecca Estelle gave away everything that reminded her of pumpkins she had always hated until ... Remember, that means something's about to happen. I love this picture, how she's handing a big pumpkin to a child to take home. Until all that remained was a handful of seeds. My goodness, those she tucked snugly into her pocket, just like I have some seeds in my pocket. I'm feeling in my pocket. Oh, they're coming out. Oh yeah, I've got some seeds myself, just like Rebecca Estelle. Those she tucked snugly into her pocket where they would be safe until planting time next year. Boys and girls, what do you think Rebecca Estelle is going to do with her seeds? What can you do with seeds? Do you think that she changed her opinion from the beginning of the story to the end of the story? How do you think she feels about pumpkins? Thanks for listening. This was a fun book called Too Many Pumpkins.